Ba la 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 la. Leonidas refuses to be categorized the podcast. Queens, hello, my friends, my loves. Happy New Year. Many blessings upon you. May 2024 just be, if it could be a little softer, that would be a glorious thing. I just wanted to take a few minutes just to share what I'm thinking of and feeling as we enter into the new year. I know, like, in 2023, I really struggled with being hard on myself and wanting to get it all perfect and right, and feeling like I just wasn't up to the task. And it was like having kind of low self-confidence in that, like low self-esteem isn't something that I ordinarily struggle with. Like, usually I have a fairly robust confidence, or as my assistant calls it, delusional, which makes me laugh heartily. I can have a fairly decent sized ego, and last year I did not. I didn't have it, and it became a real struggle, and I felt myself just turning myself into knots, trying to do things perfectly, and being convinced that the way I had done things wasn't good enough, and I just needed to do more, be more, try harder. And I kept on doing these different things, like the Motion app, which was like a productivity app, which blocks out your time for you, and then the Full Focus 12-week planning system and things like that. And I'd be like, right, this is the thing that's going to save me from myself, and this is the thing that's going to create all of the success. And I would just be so wrapped up and trying to make it perfect, and then it just didn't work for me, and then I would feel like absolute shit about it, and I'd be like, there's something wrong with me, because it's just I hate this. And so I went through kind of a few iterations of these things until finally, blessedly, my assistant and my bestie Tam had a bit of an intervention on me, and they were like, hey, you're kind of in a real rut, and you need to either go back to therapy or do something. And I was like, well, I did do cognitive behavioral therapy last year, and I just didn't find it super helpful, because I felt like I was ruminating on things even more. And Zita thankfully has a psychology degree, and she was like, oh, that's because you're neurodiverse. CBT is gold standard for neurotypical people. It is not gold standard for neurodivergent people. And so it's actually whatever works for you. So what works for you? And what has worked for me has always been doing kind of positive psychology woo-woo things. So for over a decade, I worked with Hira Boga, who is an intuitive healer, and I've also worked with Kerry Rowett on and off over that time, and she's a kinesiologist. Hiro is mostly retired now, and it has been such a blessing in my life. And I was like, right, okay, I'm going to go back to Kerry and invest in doing stuff with Kerry regularly. So as soon as I started doing fortnightly sessions with Kerry, I just started getting out of my own loop and out of my own kind of doom spiral, and started feeling a bit back more into myself again, which was really useful, and I could just make progress and things like that. So I'm very grateful for that. And now knowing that compulsion inside me, I kind of enter into New Year's resolutions warily, because I don't want to like fall back in that pattern of being really hard on myself and being determined, like, if I don't get January perfect, then the whole year is fucked and I'm fucked and I need to like get this right. I need to get this perfect. I need to make January like the perfect month in order for the rest of the year to be okay. So I've been like quite hesitant, like, just be gentle on yourself, Leonie, let's just be reasonable about this. And so I contacted Kerry and I was like, can we schedule stuff in sooner rather than later? Because January, I can already see, is going to be a sore spot for me. And she was like, yep, absolutely. Thank God. If you want to find Kerry's website, it's alignandattract.com, by the way. I don't get any kickbacks. I just love her and her work. And she's just been such a blessing in my life, as has Hira Boga. So having Kerry already pre-booked for stuff, knowing that I can trip myself up, great. I also have been like, right, how am I going to do this? Like, I've been setting the annual goals for, 14 years, 15 years. And I think it really works for me on the life front. And at the moment on the business front, like, I feel like I'm close, like, I'm just really ready to, like, my compulsions aren't great in that area at the moment in terms of being kind to myself. So I'm like, I think I just need a pause on annual planning at the moment. And I need to, what's the right way of saying this? What's the right way of saying this? Let me explain in a different way. So I was reading a book, a business book, and it's called Rework by Jason Fried, who runs Basecamp. And for them, he was sharing about their business planning process, and he said that they don't actually set annual goals in their company. They set 6-week goals, and they do 6-week goals because they've been doing that same business for 20 years, which is similar to when I've been running mine, and they've tried out all different lengths of stuff, and they know what iteration works best for them. And so currently that's 6 weeks, but that could change over time. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I could definitely do like a 6-week plan. Preferably I could even do like just a 21-day plan. And then a 21-day plan would work super great for me. And then I can decide from then if 21 days is still the right thing for me, or if I want to set like more longer term goals. I think as well, like, I've always been like a fairly short term planner. For many years in my business, I had like just the overall arching goal, or like the financial goal for the business. But then each month I could do whatever the fuck I wanted in that. And I knew a lot of like business friends who were doing more like, they would set out exactly when they would do launches for the year and what they would like be focusing on each week, each quarter, all that kind of stuff. And at some point I started believing that like they were like the grown-ups in the business and that I wasn't, and that my just like hodgepodge sort of monthly planning wasn't good enough, and I needed to start pushing for like, at least having fully mapped out quarterly plans and much more fleshed out annual years, when that's never actually worked for me, and it brings me zero fucking joy whatsoever. So reading the Basecamp book, Rework, was just like really refreshing. Like, oh, okay, I can do whatever the fuck I want, remember? Like, I don't know why I need to remind myself of this, but I totally do. Like, some of my friends say to me, Leonie, do you not remember you're Leonie fucking Dawson? Like, you're Leonie fucking Dawson. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I can actually just make it easier on myself and totally do it my own way and not subscribe to the belief that other people are doing it better than me. I can just do it in my own hodgepodge way. And it's the same with like productivity and like task lists and stuff like that. I still don't have like a one system that I use all the time, that I put all of my tasks in and I know exactly where things are at. Like, I do have task lists all over the place. I've got them in Google Keep, I've got them in Asana, I've got them in books, like in just writing books, all over the place. And it doesn't fucking matter. It's okay that I don't have like one perfect system, because stuff still gets done. An amazing amount of stuff still gets done. And sometimes like the things that are really important keep on coming up, and so I'm never going to forget those. Like, I've never missed a deadline. I've never missed a deadline. That's what I need to remember, that like, sure, I've got a hodgepodge system, but I've never missed a deadline. And it works for me. I like the feeling of like, I can choose what I want to work on at any point in time. That's why like time blocking doesn't really work for me. When I was using like the Motion app, Motion, it was like, it set out exactly what I need to be working on every hour of like the next forever. And I was like, I would rather fucking die than be told what to do. Even if it's by my own like task software. So that was really useful. I think like 2023 was definitely like a learning year for me. And yeah, I'm excited to enter into 2024 having learned the lessons of 2023 and continue like deepening my relationship with myself and the way that things work best for me, and being unabashedly proud of that and accepting of that and being like, fuck yeah. As Amanda Frances says, like, I'm a fucking red hot mess, but am I going to tell myself a story that doesn't mean I can't create success? Fuck no. Like, I can be a red hot mess and still create success. And I think that's a really beautiful motto. All right, I'm now at the post office and I've got to go in and collect a book. Both my daughters are obsessed with the Wings of Fire series, and the new graphic novel is out. And so I think that's all they have plans for today. One of them's already dibbed reading it first, and then the other one will read it, and then they'll probably just reread the rest of the series, I think. I think that's their deep plans for today. I also have a treadmill being delivered today. I've owned treadmills in the past, and then when we've moved, we've like given them away, and because they're a real pain to move, especially across the country like I have been known to do. And so we're just going to hire one for 3 months, and if it becomes a good part of our routine, then we can look at hiring it for longer or buying it or whatever. But I'm excited. I really need to, just with my pain, with my hypermobility in my back, I really need to build up more strength, functional strength, so that my back, I'm not in so much pain all the time. So that's another, I won't say New Year's resolution, because currently the idea terrifies me of like setting a goal for a whole year. And this is hilarious for the person who wrote the annual goal workbooks. But this is the thing, right? This is just where I'm at currently. It's like my mindset is I can use the workbooks if I'm using them to set goals for the next month. That's all. Everything else is just into the great unknown. Yeah. All right, I'm going to go. I love you all. I hope this has just been a little reminder that you can do things however the fuck you want. And that is perfect. I love you. You got this. Bye.